At COSI, we know science is everywhere. Explore Columbus with me and let's find some evidence. Hey everybody, I'm Lauren, I'm from COSI.
And I'm Sarah from Experience Columbus. We are here at The Ohio State University at the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum, home to the world's largest collection of cartoons and comics.
The Billy relies on science and technology to keep these comics in pristine condition. Let's go find out more.
Welcome, I'm Jenny Robb and I'm the head curator of comics and cartoon art here at the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum.
So Jenny, tell us a little bit about this place.
Well, the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum is the world's largest collection of comics and cartoon art materials. And we've been around here at The Ohio State University since the 1970s. We collect everything and anything to do with cartoons and comics. We have original art, we have books, we have comic books, we have archives, we have artifacts, everything that helps us document the history of cartoons and comics.
How many total works of art do you think, or you probably know, are here at the Billy?
Millions of items. The actual artwork, so where a cartoonist will draw with ink on paper, we have over 300,000 original cartoons, and we think that is the largest collection in the world.
Jenny, we'd love to see more behind the scenes about the science and technology of the preservation methods of these comics. Would you mind showing us?
I wouldn't mind at all. Let's check it out. Okay, so we're about to enter our vault where we keep all of our treasures. It's a secure space because, of course, we have really unique and rare things in here. Once I swipe us in, we have 60 seconds to get through the door.
Okay, better hurry.
And if we leave the door open for longer than 60 seconds, an alarm goes off. And that's partly for security reasons, but also for the climate control, because we don't want the door being held open and all of the good air that you're going to feel when we walk through to come out. So why don't we go on in and talk about the vault.
I got my running shoes on, let's go.
It feels really different back here. Why is temperature and humidity so important when you're trying to preserve these works of art?
It's really important because we want these materials to be here not just in 100 years, but in 500 years or even 1,000 years. And so we know that the inherent nature of the materials is to deteriorate and decay. And so we're really doing everything we can to make sure that we slow that process down. So we try to keep things at around 60 degrees, which is, cold for humans, but is the best thing for the works of art that we have here. We also try to keep the humidity a constant level. We use our HVAC system or our air handler to make sure that the air in this space is the right temperature and the right relative humidity.
So how do you monitor all these factors, things like temperature and humidity? You have to write this down somewhere, right?
We have here one of our sensors that is constantly taking measurements of the temperature and the relative humidity and the dew point, and that's sending that information to a computer program that then charts all of that data, that tells me what the climate conditions are like and if we've met our goals in terms of keeping the temperature and the relative humidity constant. Would you like to come and see some of my favorite objects in the collection?
Love to.
Yes.
So one of our most popular collections and one of my personal favorites is the Calvin and Hobbes collection. Bill Watterson is from Ohio originally, and he has placed all of the original art from the newspaper comic strip Calvin and Hobbes here. He drew the strip from 1985 to 1995, pretty a short run, but is actually considered one of the most popular and best comic strips ever created. We also have here an original page by Jeff Smith, who also is an Ohio cartoonist. He's actually from Columbus and lives here. He drew a graphic novel called Bone that is 1,300 pages.
Oh my gosh.
And we have all the original art here as well.
So what other factors besides humidity and temperature do you need to think about when you're preserving these materials?
One of the other main factors that we consider is light, because light can be very damaging to works of art. So let me give you an example over here. This is an original comic strip by Gary Trudeau. It's called Doonesbury. And you can see that it has been matted and framed and it hung on someone's wall and probably had a lot of daylight that fell on it. And the problem is that the visible light can do damage to works. It can cause discoloration like you see here, it can cause fading, but it's really the ultraviolet light and the infrared light. And those we don't see with our eyes, but they're shorter wavelengths and they're longer wavelengths, and because of that, they can actually do more damage. So in this space, for example, we have special lighting so that we're sure it doesn't have the ultraviolet and the infrared rays. But in this case, when the object arrived here, it had been hanging on someone's wall, so it was already discolored. And different materials react differently, different types of inks react differently. So you can see here there was a marker. Gary Trudeau actually signed it to the owner, but you can see that's almost entirely faded away.
So what is the oldest work of art that you have here in the museum?
Well, one of our oldest pieces is actually one of my favorites, so let me show it to you.
Great. Oh, wow.
So this is the Hale scrapbook, and it features cartoons that were created from about 1746 to 1830. The female philosopher smelling out the comet. It's actually from 1790, and it features the first woman who was paid to be a scientist. Her name is Caroline Herschel, and she was an astronomer. She actually discovered a number of comets and helped to map the stars in the 1790s. And she was given credit for actually being an astronomer, a professional astronomer, at a time when women weren't really scientists. But the result was that the popular media, the cartoonists at the time, made fun of her. And so this cartoon is sort of lampooning her and her aspirations of being a scientist.
So Jenny, where can we find out more information?
We do have a museum that is open every day except Monday from 1 to 5, and it is free. You can go to cartoons.osu.edu, that's our website, and learn about our exhibitions, learn about making an appointment to come and view our materials in the reading room. And you can even see a lot of our collections online. In fact, this book has been completely digitized. So you can go online and flip the pages and click on each item and learn more about each individual item.
Jenny, thank you so much for having us. This has been so informative. We had a great time.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Wow, the Billy showed us that science really is everywhere. Sarah, what was your favorite takeaway?
I loved seeing the comics that date back to the 1700s.
Right? That scrapbook was huge.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Science Tour 614.